Yo, 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 what's good, what's good, what's good, what's good? You are now watching Sports Show. I am your host, King, here with another solo dolo show. We back. One more game, one more game, one more game. But let's get to it. Always do. If you're looking for a clean, jitterless, no crash energy drink, use promo code JUK for 20% off. We're going to get you right. And make sure that you, wherever you're here from, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Follow me at KYNGRALPH on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Threads. Add a number for Twitter. Make sure you subscribe Juke Network on YouTube. Follow Juke Network on Facebook as well. Help boost those numbers up, yo. You're interacting as well, wherever you're here from. Say what's up. Ask some questions. Give me the energy. Give me the energy. Like Goku would say. Finishing up the WNBA semifinals, Las Vegas Aces are playing the Indiana Fever right now in Game 5 to wrap that up. But the Phoenix Mercury have already punched their ticket. Let's take a little swig. All right, all right. The Phoenix Mercury have already punched their ticket, and it was some drama, a little bit of drama, a little bit of drama. Nothing too crazy, but there were some people that were not happy with calls. There was Nafisa Collier got injured. And then she decided she's just going to set the house on fire on the way out. But first off, before we get to her statements about the commissioner, um, the Phoenix Mercury, they definitely did it. Although the injury to Nafisa Collier, Fee gets injured, coach gets ejected, can't coach the next game, Fee can't play the next game. So there's some things there that contributed to helping them get there, but nonetheless, they still got the job done. Congrats to the Phoenix Mercury for getting to the WNBA Finals. Now we're sitting here waiting on the Aces to see what happens there. Let's see. What's the score of the game? All right. So halfway through the third quarter, Aces are up by 4. I'll keep you updated on that as the pod goes on. But Fee, on the way out, exit, press conference, exit interview, however you want to look at it. Pretty much she said that the commissioner was the worst leader, and that she pretty much said that during the conversation, a private conversation that she had with her, she had asked her about players like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Paige Beckers. Why don't they get paid better? And the commissioner's response was Clark should be grateful. She makes $16 million off the court because without that platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And then she went on to say that they should be on their knees thanking her for the TV deal that she got them. And so this looks terrible, especially with Sabale, Fee, and things that some of the players have been saying throughout the year, leading into this contract year where they're looking to get paid better. I think at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do and what you think is best. Regardless, shoot, I don't play in the WNBA. I would love for my daughter to be able to make it there one day, Lord willing. But I think that right now, this is a pivotal season, and this is a terrible time to, as the commissioner, have this kind of stain on your resume. Yes, you got a TV deal, but it was very much brokered by the NBA. So you were kind of like an add-on addition to the TV deal. So when the NBA got their new TV deal, you got a TV deal as well. So I think that you can't go into this with this like mindset that like you just did something so great that the players should be thanking you for, because yes, the league was on an uptick, but these girls that just came through here gave you a boom. where we were on an uptick, and then now you just jump to supreme popularity, and you have to be able to acknowledge that. It's like for I'm trying to think of who because I know it was David Stern, but it wasn't always David Stern. But we got Larry Bird and Magic. Prior to that, the NBA was a different NBA, and then Magic and Bird took the popularity to the next level, and it might carried it to where it is today. And so I do think that it would be a disservice to the league to not acknowledge the individuals that helped bring it to new heights. And that's the part for me where it's like this is a terrible look. Um, so her calling her the worst leader in a time period where they're about to go into contract negotiations, and I think given the success that Unrivaled had, the 1-on-1 league that they had, the 3-on, I think it was 3-on-3, but then they did like a 1-on-1 tournament, King of the Hill style, and I think that, excuse me, I think that when the popularity that had and the amount of money that the players are able to make puts a little bit of like there's no sense of urgency for them to get that contract done because they're going to make their bread regardless. And so Paige Beckers is now playing in that league. We'll see if anybody else decides to play, but I do think that bringing in this young crop and influx of talent to be able to get them to tag on to is only going to push the narrative of like or the needle in a way where there might have to bend to what these players want and what they're looking for. And so I talked about the Aces. They are in Game 5 right now, looking at 61-55 with a little under 5 minutes left. I anticipate the Aces winning. I do think that the Fever have a really good team even without Caitlin Clark, and I've been trying to say that because even this year they got a little better, but last year, yeah, they were the number one seed for a reason when they got Caitlin Clark, but it wasn't like there was no like young talent on the team to be able to come in and do what they do. Now you have Stephanie White, who is the coach, who was taking the Connecticut Sun to WNBA finals and championship games. Now you bring her over along with Aaliyah Boston as being able to show what she could do. She's been playing Asia very tough throughout the year, and however she matches up with when she matches up with her, that right now Asia's at about 18, shooting about 50, a little less than 50% from the field. Jackie Young is doing this thing. Chelsea Gray is back on the court. She did leave with an injury, a lower leg injury. I want to say it was a foot injury. So hopefully she can stay healthy and stay in the game, and we'll be able to get it done. But ultimately, I just think that the Aces are the better team. And going into the playoffs, I'm glad I said this early because they struggled early. But then lately, they've been playing very well and very good basketball. That my pick at the beginning of the year of them winning, hey, I said what I said at the end of the day. And so I'll keep you guys updated, like I said. Throughout the pod, I will throw out. So now after my iPad has reloaded, we're at 68-63 with 1 minute left in the third. Next topic. Cam Ward, was he out of pocket? He was being asked about the play of the team. They're 0-4, got their asses whooped by the Houston Texans. And pretty much he was like, if we're keeping it a buck, we're ass. Then he just mentioned like all levels, offense, defense, special teams, every level, we are just not a good football team. We're not playing together. Was he out of pocket? And I think that this is a perfect example of one of those things where it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. In the end, if he was just to say, "Yeah, we're struggling right now. Um, we need to play better and figure out how to get it done going forward," not a big deal. But coming out with such blunt, harsh words in a press conference may or may not sit well with the team, with the rest of the team, especially being a rookie and some of those veterans that are on that team. So it's like, as much as you would like you like from a media standpoint, being a podcaster, working my way into this sports media realm, the new media, I guess they call it. Uh, 0 to 26 is just not going to get it done at the end of the day. But I understand his frustration where he's coming from, because even him, he's saying, "I'm not playing well." 108 yards through the air. Um, Tony Pollard was 64 as the leading rusher, and it just doesn't look good. It's just not a good product that they're putting on the field. Coming up 0-4, looks like they're gonna end up with the number one pick going in the next year, unless they turn something around. But I think that from a sports media standpoint, you like to see it because it's definitely going to give you content. There's going to be memes. There's going to be clickbait. It's going to be rage bait. But also from like a leadership standpoint, and I'm a store manager at my job, so there's just some things that you just can't say. I actually was just having this conversation with a friend of mine earlier, where when you're in a position of leadership, you cannot let those emotions lead you in a way where you make a decision that could harm the team. And this is one of those things where, yeah, you might be right, but to what extent do you want to be right? Sometimes always not, and sometimes being right is just not always the right way to go about it. You're sacrificing certain things in order to prove that you're right. And being in a position of leadership is it's not always the best thing. Sometimes you got to sacrifice certain things in order to make the team feel uplifted. And this one's weird. I get it why it's a bad thing, but ultimately Colorado was fined $50,000 because the Colorado fans were chanting anti-Mormon chants at the BYU team during their game over the weekend. And this is weird to me. I like, how do you find the team for something that the fans did? Like, I understand and I get why it's bad, but ultimately, if I'm on the field, how am I supposed to be able to stop that? Or the school is supposed to be able to stop that. I guess maybe come through and say, "Oh, like, oh no, we're not doing these." Maybe there's certain precautions and things of that matter that they were supposed to do to stop them from doing from the chant. But it's just as weird. That's just a little weird. How are you gonna find the team or the school? Maybe I'm thinking about it the wrong way. I think it's I'm thinking about it more. I'm thinking about the football team, where I get, you know what? I get it. Now I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm absorbing everything. I'm processing everything. I get why the school, because then the school, it's not just fans. Some of them are their students. They represent the school. So yeah, you can't just be going out there saying anti-Mormon stuff. I don't know what exactly was said, but I do think that going into it, uh, I was like, "What the fuck?" But now that I've seen it, I really understand. Like, all right, I get why the school is being fined, because the students represent the school. They're not just fans at a football game. Those are students who represent the school at the game, shouting out wild stuff. At first, I definitely was like, I don't get it, but I don't agree with it either. I still low key don't agree with it, because I do think that at the end of the day, they probably were tailgating. People got that liquor in them. People say wild stuff. do wild stuff to get underneath people's skin in these games. Does it make it right? But also, I watch a lot of NBA basketball, and them Utah fans and the things that they say to black players, I don't feel bad. I just don't feel bad. So, and so, with the rest that I got left, going to this fast break. One of my favorite candy bars too, Reese's fast break. Get you one if you never heard about it. All right, let's go pull this game back up. Aces are up by 8. Going into the fourth quarter, 63-71. But fast break, 2-minute drill, whatever you want to call it. Get well soon, Malik Neighbors and Tariq Hill. I have 4 fantasy teams right now. One of which I'm undefeated. One of which I believe I'm 3-1, and I think the other one I have one that I'm 1-3, and I have one that I think the only record I don't have on any of them is 2-2 after 4 games. And Malik Neighbors and Tyreek Hill are players that I had on my team. So my fantasy teams are as a GM, I'm a little hurt by this, but definitely want to say get well soon to them. I think Jackson Dart coming in playing well gives me a little bit of hope for the Giants. They have a really good defense. That front 7, even before they got Abdul Carter, I thought was going to be an issue with Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Now you add an Abdul Carter to that mix, and then on the flip side, you get a Jackson Dart adding some juice to the team, some enthusiasm. Russell Wilson was struggling. I did feel like they pulled the plug a little too early on him, but what do we do? What do we do? In this moment, these are moments I was talking to my dad where, as a defense, the Giants' defense holds the Chargers to 18 points. And then the Giants only score 21 points, they win the game. These are moments where, do you chalk it up as Jackson Dart? This is the Jackson Dart effect, or would Russell Wilson been able to be able to win this game? And that's the part where I feel kind of bad for him, but at the same time, it's the way that the cookie crumbles. He's still getting paid millions at the end of the day, so can't really feel bad for a person a millionaire still making his money, even though he's not going to play for the rest of the season, unless Jackson Dart gets hurt. We don't wish that on nobody. And Tyreek Hill, this one is tough because Tua was already struggling. And so you lose Tyreek Hill. Now Waddle finna go crazy. He finna get number 1 receiving targets because it's a big fall off after him. I do think that now we gonna see whether or not Tua's worth that bread, and because Tariq already wanted out, so now he's hurt. He gets to rehab and try to come back next season and figure it out if he's going to come back to the team or not. But also, we get to see what Tua got, and can you lead these troops out of the slump? You got a victory last week. Now we're going into week 5. So in week 5, the Miami Dolphins are playing the New York Jets. Oh nope, this one just happened. So hold up. Why didn't you move? There we go. Miami is playing the Carolina Panthers, who are terrible. So another opportunity for them to get a victory, even though they don't have Cheetah. But these are games that Tua needs to be able to step up. If you're going to be that guy, and this is what I was saying with Brock Purdy, if you're going to be that guy that's going to ask for, next man up, we're just going to pay the next man up. Well, when you're not able to get certain talent because you're getting paid so much money, You have to be able to make up that difference. And me personally, I think that there's three quarterbacks: Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen that deserve that top dollar because they can make up more. They can do more with less. And they can make up that difference in talent. Everyone else, you really need to be able to build a roster to be able to make sure that they can succeed at a high level. No, like, there's nothing wrong with that at the end of the day. I feel like there's throughout the course of history, every elite quarterback had elite talent in order for them to be able to get to the point where they were. Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely, Dallas Clark, Edgerrin James, Joseph Adai, um, then Tom Brady, the slew of people that he had. Now, early in his career, it wasn't the greatest, but you still had a Corey Dillon. You still had, I'm trying to think what my man's name was because he won the Super Bowl. He won the MVP. I can't think of what his name is right now off the top of my head. But not Peyton Manning, Tom Brady had pieces in order to be able to really be able to succeed. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice. Steve Young had Jerry Rice and T.O. Every quarterback that plays at a high level, shit, even to go through this era, Josh Allen didn't look like Josh Allen until he got Stephon Diggs, and now he's matured into what he is today. Joe Burrow needs Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And so not a lot of quarterbacks can make up for that difference, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Tua now, let's put up or shut up. What are we going to do? You getting all this money. Are you worth it? And so the NBA season is getting ready to start kicking up. Anthony Edwards is officially my favorite player. I've been going back and forth between over the last couple of years. I love Shea. But I think from a personality standpoint and just that it factor of like a person you just want to root for because you like the guy, like you want to have I want to smoke a blunt with him. You know what I mean? Like that's a person that he's just funny. Every time I see him doing any kind of content, when they did the reenactment of KG and Randy Moss with him and Justin Jefferson, he was talking stuff saying, "Oh, I can play football," and it's all like, "Oh, what you gonna do? I'm gonna be a safety. Who you gonna hit? Oh, I'm gonna hit Derrick Henry." And it's like, bro, you know how big that man is? And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And like even just like, who are some people that you miss? And it's like, "Oh, I miss my nigga." And it's just like unfiltered and genuine and authentically being himself is just one of the reasons why I like him. But then his game on the court, the boy is ferocious, tenacious, and extremely athletic. And I've been seeing some things about him working on his back to the basket. If you've been watching the pod, you know that I said that he needs to work on that part of his game because you can get to the rim and you can hit the three. You really need to be able to be a 3-level scorer, 5-level scorer, however you want to look at it, and be able to get a bucket in those clutch moments. And he said it at the press conference that he needs to be better in the clutch. And so I think he's poised for a big year. I'm putting my stamp on it. This is my favorite player right now. And I don't really see it changing anytime soon, to be honest with you. And this one here, hilarious to me. I love it. Other people may or may not. But Bad Bunny is performing at the halftime show. I'm cool with it. I don't know why my camera keeps going in and out of focus, but stay focused. Lock in. But I'm here for it. And people are upset. Me personally, I don't really care. I think that when it comes down to it, when people are upset about certain things, that's when the racism shows. And you really get to see who they are as a person. Because I get it. If you don't like certain music, cool. Be about the music. But the moment you start saying, oh, he's not American and he's gonna speak Spanish and wooty wooty wah, and it's this and it's that, like, who cares if he doesn't speak English? He's a performing artist, and the Super Bowl gets watched around the world. So why not get an international superstar? Now he just happens to be from our backyard in Puerto Rico, but at the end of the day, he's still a megastar, regardless of what you want to say. And so, me, I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan, but I like some of his music, so I'm gonna watch. You know what I mean? Plus, I'm too old to be going outside playing football at halftime anyway. I might, maybe a liquor run or a smoke session, depending on where I'm at. But Bad Bunny at halftime, I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then last topic, probably not the last topic because I probably end up saying one more thought. But sports betting is a scam. I don't know if y'all saw this shit, but whew, bruh. On Saturday, University of Indiana is playing University of Iowa. 2 seconds left in the game. My man is on the 40-yard line, quarterback. Hikes the ball. Really, all you got to do, run around, throw the ball in the air, throw it hella far. And mind you, it's a 5.5 spread. They're up by 7. Just to set the scene. My man hikes the football, takes off running, and runs into the end zone and gets tackled for a safety, which now puts the game at they won by 5 points. If I would have bet on this game, if I was someone who bet on this game, I want my money back, bro. Because ain't no way you telling me that's not on purpose. That's on purpose. Sports betting is a scam. How often have you seen where, like, for example, me and my dad watching, another example, me and my dad are watching the Falcons game 2 weeks ago. Bijan Robinson ran the ball up the field. He needs Bijan Robinson to get a touchdown on a parlay he's trying to hit. Why they bring in Algier out of nowhere, who ain't seen the field the whole drive, and he gets the touchdown? Those are the things where, like, this shit's a scam, bro. That shit rigged. And as much as I love sports, I'm starting to see certain shit. And so, thank you all for watching. But speaking of see certain shit, I don't know if y'all saw, but them Cubs, though. How about them Cubs, though? Yeah, getting that W over them trash-ass Padres. We in here. We out here. Back-to-back home runs. Uh-huh. I know y'all saw that. But thank you all for watching. Just wanted to talk my shit before I get up out of here because my Raiders. At least Ashton Genty's back to his Michael Myers stats that he had. He balled out. Maybe that's the change that he needed in order to be able to feel like himself again. He had a big game. Too bad we came up short. Blocked field goal. Raiders lose. Now I got to deal with these damn Bears fans and my family. You know, I'm from Chicago, so shit's annoying. But make sure while you're here, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Subscribe at Juke Network. Follow us at Juke Network on Facebook. Follow Juke Boy Sports Show on Instagram at Juke's. I think it's at Juke Sports Show on Instagram. And then follow me at KynGRalph on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, add an underscore for X or Twitter. And I got to get up out of here. Peace.